Edgar Allan Poe was an American writer, poet, critic, and publisher known for his story of Gothic novel. With a very innovative style in this time, he marked the first step of the current horror detective novel. He was born on January 1980 at one in Boston, Massachusetts. When Edgar was only 2 years old, his father left the family. A short time later, his mother died, leaving Poe alone with brother and sister, orphans. The three were separated and Poe was adopted by the Allan family. John Allan was a successful merchant, so Edgar had no monetary problem in his childhood and went to good schools. His adoptive mother, who had been unable to have children, always loved him, but nevertheless, the relationship with his father was never too good. As a child, Edgar liked to spend time leafing through the English magazine he found in his father's histories, and with only 14 years old, he already making his first poems. Back then, Poe was a good boy, but not entirely sociable. At this time, his macabre style of writing is already cooking. Poe enrolled at the University of Virginia at the age of 17. Her diplomas began to arrive. His adoptive father limited his money and Edgar was found gambling and alcohol, going to debt and had to drop out of the college. Without money or work, he decided to enlist in 1827 in the U.S. Army. In that same year, he also published his first book, Tamerlanes and Other Poems, under the pseudonym of Bostonian. Since his stepfather did not want him he was writing, and Poe did not want to be discovered. This small collection of poems still covered the typical tone of the time and was full of verses that Edgar had written when he was a child. Edgar's adoptive mother became ill. By the time he got home, Mr. Allan was already dead. It was a very painful situation for the poet. He moved in with his grandmother and aunt. It was then that he published his second book, Al-Haraf, which contained the longest poem he ever wrote, and which, according to Poe, he wrote when he was 15 years old. The poetry collection caught the attention of the critics, but for that, the poem was too complicated. John Allan decided to make the peace with his son and got him position to continue his study at the West Point Military Academy in 1830. They varied salaries in classes, but his adoptive father remarried without telling him, and Edgar started to quarrel continually with him, until John directly cut ties. It was then that the poet was expelled from West Point because of his bad behavior. Poe was without friends or work, and was in serious financial trouble. He slowed a prayer and sent a letter to his father begging to her, but none came. In 1834, Edgar's stepfather died, leaving him out of this will. The brother continued to struggle to survive in 1835. He landed a editorial position at the art and literature magazine Southern Literary Messenger in Richmond. Here Poe earned a first reputation as a critic, writing novels coming from this contemporary. His brother Christmas earned the name of the Tomahawk.
At 27, the poet married his cousin Virginia, who was only 13 years old. Sometime in 1804, Edgar joined George Graham as editor of Graham magazine. During Poe's years working for the magazine, he published his first detective story, The Morris in the Rumors. It was the first police account properly speaking in the history of literature, and they already showed the macabre tone, both in the crime of the play and the characters. In 1845, Edgar published his first great oral tale, The Raven. The poem is considered one of the best-known poems in American literature and one of the best discoveries of the career. In 1847, at the young age of 24, the same age with his biological mother and other brother died, his wife Virginia dies of tuberculosis. Poe was overwhelmed with pain after this death and was never in good health again. Allan Poe spent his last 10 days in Baltimore. He was found lying in the street lyrics and was taken to the hospital. At no time during those days was he lucid enough to explain what had happened with him. He finally died on Sunday, October 7, 1849. Since then, a great mysticism has surrounded Brighter's death. At the time, he was believed that it had been due to congestion in the brain or alcoholism, but no cause is certain, since the certificate of his death never appeared. This death remains a great mystery.
Edgar Allan Poe is considered one of the best short story writers of the world. Master of mystery and terror remains a reference.